group. The next group is a tiny bit more complicated. So let's take a look. We've got 3x plus 2 squared minus 4 in this first one. So first of all, the squared means we've got that U-shaped parabola. Let's see, the plus 2 tells me I'm going to shift to the left 2. The minus 4 tells me I'm going to be shifting down 4 because it's on the outside. And then I have to be a little bit careful. I've got to stretch on the outside of 3, which means I'm going to pull my graph upwards 3 from where it is. So one thing at a time. Our normal parabola is here at 0, 0, 1, 1, negative 1, 1. That's the normal parabola without anything done to it. We're going to shift it to the left 2. And then we're going to shift it, to the left 2. And then we're going to shift it down 4. And that's where our new parabola will land, at least its center. And then we have to be careful of our stretch of 3 is going to get pulled up 3 from where we're at on either side. But that's it. And that's going to be our final answer for our parabola. And that's it. Let's take a look at B. And B is we have something very similar. We have negative 3x minus 1 squared plus 3. So again, because we have something that's squared, we're going to be talking about our U-shaped parabola. Because we have a minus 1 on the inside, we're actually going to be shifting to the right one. The plus 3 on the outside actually tells us that we're going to be shifting, up 3. Because it's on the outside, it's going to tell us up or down. And positive means up. And last thing that we've got here is our stretch that's on the outside of negative 3. That means instead of being pulled up 3 because it's negative, we're actually going to get pulled down 3. So we'd start out with our regular parabola, which is at 0, 0, 1, 1, and negative 1, 1. And the first thing that we would do is shift it to the right 1. And then we're going to shift up 3. And that will be the base of our parabola. However, remember our stretch is a negative 3, which means I'm going to get pulled down 3 on either side from where I'm at. And then that will be my parabola. And now it's pointing downward because of that negative that was out in front with my 3. But that is my final answer for my graph. Let's see, last one here, C is an x cubed graph. That one is a little bit different. We've got negative x cubed plus 1. I do want to point this out because you don't need to leave it like this. When you have this negative x cubed with parentheses is to remind yourself what happens when you do cube a negative is that it stays a negative and it stays cubed. So you can rewrite this as negative x cubed without the parentheses because a negative when cubed will stay negative. That might make it a little bit easier. This normal graph, without the negative and without the 1, the x cubed graph, remember, looks like the snake going upward. It goes through 0, 0, 1, 1, and negative 1, negative 1, and looks something kind of like this before it's been altered in any way, the x cubed graph. So let's take a look at what all this is going to do to things here. Well, first of all, we have a plus 1. That's going to shift my entire graph up 1. So now I'll have my 3 points here. The question really becomes, what does that negative out in front do? Well, remember, it flips your graph upside down. But it also, remember, leaves the center point the same. So what it means to flip it upside down, it means the part that was below that middle point on the left is actually going to flip above, and the part that was above is actually going to flip below. So instead of my snake going up like I'm used to, it should be going down because it's going to flip upside down. So it flipped upside down. Whatever was going down flipped up, and whatever was up flipped down, and gave us our final graph here, this purple graph in the middle. And that's our final graph. Now let's take a look at D. In D, we've got again that this is cubed, which means we've got our snake graph pointing up. Let's see, we've also got, a plus 2 inside, which actually means we're going to shift to the right 2. We also have a minus 1 on the outside, which means we're going to be shifting this down 1. And we also have a stretch of 3. Normally we don't see anything and we automatically have a stretch of 1. So let's draw our normal x cubed graph, which normally goes through 0, 0, 1, 1, and negative 1, 1. And looks something like this. And notice the reason it is normally like this is because a stretch of 1 means you get pulled 1 in either direction. And it's always working its way from bottom up. Well, now what we're going to do is shift everything to the right 2. And then, be careful, up 1 after that, which is going to land us with our new center point here. Okay. Well, the difference is now our stretch is 3, not 1. So that means I'm going to get pulled up 3 and down 3 in both directions. Now I need to do the same shape, which means I need to work my way from the bottom up. So I need to do the bottom point first and work my way up. But it's the same exact picture, just stretched out quite a bit. So our final graph is this highlighted picture. And so that's my final graph. Okay, one last one. We've got on this last one, we take a look and we see the square root shape, which is, remember, that's half of a parabola on its side. It normally goes through 0, 0, 1, 1, and if I remember right, 4, 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. That's the regular square root graph without anything done to it, though. Be careful. The minus 3 on the inside actually means we're going to do what? We're going to shift it to the right 3. The plus 2 on the outside means we're going to be shifting it up 2. And it also means that our stretch, which is normally a hidden 1, is now a negative 2, which actually means you're going to have a stretch downward. So we're going to have stretch down because of the negative of 2. So let's see, we're going to go to the right 1, 2, 3 first, and then we're going to stretch, or then we're going to shift up 2. So that will put my new center right here. Then we're going to pull down 2 from where we're at because of the stretch being a negative 2. And that's where our new point is going to be. Remember, it's always to the right one, so that won't change. And that will be our final graph for our parabola that's been stretched down 2 and shifted right 3 and up 2. So that is our final graph, the one that is highlighted.